Hello, everyone. Welcome to 3 o'clock with SOC. Give me a moment to invite our Spanish-speaking guest. Bienvenido y gracias por ver 3 o'clock con SOC. Si quieres acceso al programa en español, por favor, marque ese número que aparece en la pantalla, cuál es 646-749-3122. Cuando le contesta su llamada, marque 779-328-221. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today for our Friday episode of 3 o'clock with SOC. Just wanted you to know we always have simultaneous translation in Spanish. You'll find the number and the access code in our comments today. You'll also find links to all recorded English and Spanish version of every single episode on our Facebook page and also on our YouTube. I'm Andrea Rodriguez. I'm the Leadership Coordinator for Southside Organizing Center. Joining me today is our producer and also our Program Manager, Gabe Charles. In the comments helping out, we also have our Community Organizer, Travis Hope. Let's see. In addition to that, you can find us again on our Instagram, on our YouTube, so many different ways, our website, our email, our phone number, if you would like to reach us that way, is 414-672-8090. Although because of COVID-19, we're not doing in-person work, many ways that you can reach out to us if you need any resources or need any help at all. SOC is always here from you from day one, and we will continue to be here for all residents. So looking forward to hearing from all of you. We also wanted you to know that we have a very quick survey. You'll find the link to that survey directly in our comments. We look at every single one of these responses, and it takes maybe 3 minutes to complete. In this survey, we can get feedback from all of you regarding what you think about the forum and the topics that we're covering, or if you have any ideas for future shows, we would love to hear from you. So please don't hesitate to take just a moment to fill out that survey. Thank you, Gabe, for that. I want you to know, like right now, I'm doing this from my kitchen. We're not in our offices right now. All of us are home, so that's not why I'm not wearing a mask right now. We want you to make sure that you're safe, but COVID-19 is happening all over our city right now, especially 53215, the zip code where SOC headquarters is at. So that's exactly why I'm not wearing my mask, if you were wondering. In addition to that, I wanted you to know that we do have a disclaimer. The views and opinions shared on today's show do not necessarily reflect those of SOC. All right. So today is Community Organizing, Leadership, and Community Development Day. So excited. It is also Black Lives Matter at School Week of Action. So in addition to that, we wanted to highlight an encore presentation of one of my favorite people in Milwaukee, Dr. Monique Liston, and Ubuntu Research and Evaluation. We had an interview with her, I believe it was last September. Wanted to show that one again, so we'll be showing that a little bit later. Just a little highlight of what to expect for next week. Monday, another wonderful person, Stephanie Samaripa from Department of Neighborhood Services, will be joining us. Tuesday, we'll be continuing our celebration of Black History Month, and we'll be having an update on heart and health awareness, and that will be from someone from the Black Health Coalition. Very excited to see that. Wednesday, we'll be getting a Walker Square Farmers Market update. Linda Carter will hopefully be joining us with Alan. Really excited to hear about that update. Spring is so close. I can't really thinking about spring today. It's so cold out. So Thursday, again, we'll be welcoming Claire Evers. She's the Deputy Commissioner of Environmental Health. And on Friday, we're hopefully going to have someone from Black Leaders Organizing Communities. Really excited to hear about what they're doing and any upcoming events that we can support them with. All right, we have no critical updates today. So from that, we're going to go ahead and air our encore presentation with our Executive Director, Tammy Rivera, interviewing Dr. Monique Liston from Ubuntu Research and Evaluation.
We're going to move to our critical update for the day. I'm so excited to have our special guest with us. She has been so gracious in all of the coordination it took to make this happen. And so I'm very grateful to her, and I want to bring on Dr. Monique Liston. Hola, doctora.
Hey.
Thanks again for being patient with us and making the time. We so appreciate you. We'd like to start with all of our guests introducing themselves and just talking about the role they play right in the community and in the social justice movement.
Yes. Well, my name is Dr. Monique Liston. I am born and raised in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I'm very, very, very proud to identify as a Black woman. I practice radically queer politic wherever I can, and very, very conscious on, upholding anti-capitalist, abolitionist, destroying the patriarchy, queer everything up in whatever space I can. Okay, whether that's academia, whether that's community organizing, that's what I want to do. I am a proud alum of Historically Black College. Some of you may have heard of it. It's Howard University in Washington,
Hey,
D.C.
Howard.
And I really, really cherish what it means to create Black spaces that really affirm Black identities as they are being experienced, not just how they should be told should be experienced, but as they are actually lived. And so I am proud to be back in Milwaukee. I'm a business owner. I run Ubuntu Research and Evaluation, which is a professional learning community led by Black women that facilitates, strategizes, and evaluates around issues relating to equity, justice, and liberation. And I'm just really, really excited to be a part of Milwaukee's growing, developing resistance movement in all the ways that it shows up. And I am more honored that the young people still validate my existence.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah, they validated it. Yes, yes. So I'm happy to be here. Thank you so much for including me, and this is a great. Thanks.
Yeah, we don't have enough voices of color anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
We certainly do not have enough women of color voices, even when we attempt to. And so all of that is very meaningful for us today. Talk to us a little bit about your area of study and what you did with your, as we talked about earlier, traumatic dissertation experience, which I haven't been able to finish yet. As I was sharing, I got kicked out of UWM and have to fight to get back in to finish my dissertation.
Yeah, I got my PhD at UWM. I focused on the dignity of Black men and boys and men of color in the city of Milwaukee by the programs that claim to be doing racial equity work or work that focused on their well-being. Basically, I went to these organizations who dealt with boys and men of color, specifically Black men, over the lifespan. So whether you were youth focused or adult focused or senior citizen focused, had an opportunity to engage your work and ask you, here's what I believe dignity to me. Do you think your organization provides dignity? And then doing an analysis from that. I really went into it with two big questions initially. Like, one was like, what about the girls? Right. And what was politically expedient at the time was to talk about men, especially boys and men of color. President Obama's My Brother's Keeper initiative was like a big driver around that. But the second thing I was very curious about was evaluation. Basically, I felt, going into my program that we were using the wrong criteria to define success of our programs. And so if we went in with another lens, will we come out with a different sense of what we should be doing as successful for our boys and men of color? And at the end, what I found in my study was a lot of the small organizations were the ones who were actually dignifying the boys and men of color that participated. But because they're so financially strapped and had a very, very thin, like your executive director is the program director and it's only two other people who work there. No one's doing evaluation work or narrative change work that allowed them to talk about their program differently. Right. And so when they went up against a larger organization that wasn't dignifying the boys and men of color, they would not score as high because the larger organization has someone dedicated to their data who can say, we're helping this many boys, even though we know attendance doesn't translate into engagement. We know that showing up doesn't mean that you're treating me well. We know that completing a program doesn't mean you affirmed me as a human being. So thinking about those two different ways in which the politics of the nonprofit industrial complex and the foundation industrial complex and white supremacy overall have really made it difficult for like small organizations that were really focusing on the daily lives of boys and men of color, both on the north and south side. My dissertation touched both sides of the city, which is
good.
not typical when people are talking about Milwaukee, right? Was that the smaller organizations are doing the work, but you can't see it because they're busy doing it.
Yeah,
right.
They don't have the infrastructure to do the evaluation process and product and the writing and the celebrating and the photography and all the portfolio pieces to show the work. I'm glad you said it on the south side. I've said it many a times. People don't realize that in our district on the near south side, which is like First Street to Miller Parkway, the Valley to Oklahoma, it's 70% Latino, 20% white, and 8% African American. A totally neglected population on our near south side, but people don't realize that that's a substantial part of our community members. So I'm glad that you mentioned that. And what were a couple of your findings?
Yeah, so one was that dignity was really helpful for organizations to understand. Once we really talked with organizations and put them through the training process to think about how dignity connects to their understanding of white supremacy, anti-Blackness, white supremacist thinking in their organization, they were like, light bulb just went off. It was like, oh, we should be doing something different. Another thing was that racial equity trainings, implicit bias trainings often fall short in a lot of ways, because what they do is reinforce sort of what whiteness has allowed to persist in organizations, which is co-opting the language without doing the work.
Without the substance.
Yes, I'm sure you can testify. I mean, we can think about it in our own city. Right now, the state that has claimed racism as a public health crisis is also the worst state to raise a Black child. Those things should not be able to coexist, but it's because it's easy to co-opt the language without doing the work. And so that was a large part of what I took and then said, well, we have to become disruptors, conscientious disruptors in this field, to say, we're not just going to say these words. We're not just going to say that it's fine as long as you put this quota or you put that phrase that everything's good. We're going to think deeper, evaluate deeper, educate deeper.
That's good to hear. And certainly it's encouraging to hear that people were receptive to being educated, made aware about elements they don't think about that affect disadvantaged or people of color, like dignity, right? Because privilege is very blinding. And so you center all experience on my strengths and my value systems if I'm the privileged person, and you don't see outside of that. And so your number counting and ensuring that funding continues to go to your organization versus where it should be going, things like that. So I'm glad you're with us because of that. And so we've been talking now for weeks. We had 2 dedicated weeks to racial justice, but we're going to continue the discussion. And that's why I'm happy you're with us, because the issue is not going away soon, although we are in a time where there's no retreat. Things will not ever be the same. So it's a matter of, what does the future of change look like? So I'm excited to hear your thoughts about 2020 and racial justice, Dr. Liston. Whatever, listen, this is what I said. There's no way we're going to tackle racial justice in 25 minutes, in 2-3 weeks, 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
But let's just talk about whatever's in your heart to lift up today about racial justice.
Yeah, I think that in this moment, we are feeling 2 things colliding because of technology, right? We are feeling the reality of the ongoing assault against Black life, brown life, Indigenous life. Like, we're feeling it much more. It's been ongoing and persistent for hundreds of years, but no one cared because we weren't able to slow down enough to talk about it. Thanks to the pandemic, right? Now it's like everything is slowed down and stopped. The economy slowed down and stopped. So now these stories are taking precedence in our media consumption, right? So we're facing that, along with, because there's a pandemic and the economic engine of this country has slowed down in a lot of ways. There's a lot of people who would have been, deemed the lowest class, or, a lot of workers who are like, well, I don't have my job. And now that I'm conscious of this, I've got nothing to lose. So of course I'm going to the street. I'm taking this to the street. I've already lost everything. You've been killing us. You've been arresting us. You've been policing us. And now I don't even have any work. I'm taking myself and my children out to the street, and we're going out there and marching every day because there is nothing else we can lose at this point. And so I hate to put it in these terms, but it's sort of like a series of unfortunate accidents to make a really fortunate revolutionary circumstance in which people can really dig in and be critical of what it means to understand political engagement, to understand the intersections of race and class, to think critically about how gender and sexuality is also shaping this moment. And so it's much more at the forefront because a lot of the other things that were a part of the American idealism, i.e. shopping, luxury items, eating out, has been kibosh. Like it's
consumerism to the extreme.
It can't happen at the same rate. So now we're being forced to reconcile with what has always been American history, which is the killing of Black and brown bodies, the erasure of Black and brown voices, the pitting against people of color in order to get access to whiteness. And that whiteness is some sort of neutral identity that is absolved from engaging in any of this work. And so when we're talking about, well, what do I hope comes out from this? I think, the small steps are necessary. Number one is for everyone to understand, like we were talking about before we started, there's no such thing as a race neutral situation. There's nothing that we do that is absent of race, right? Like our Black and brown bodies are shaping every lived experience. The fact that we are even able to have this conversation is a miracle. And we have to celebrate that, fight for it, and also mourn the fact that our bodies are also subject to greater death because we inhabit Black and brown bodies, right? And so if people are at least at the point where there is no escaping race, there is no, oh, it doesn't matter over here, or it's not a part of that, I think we're getting to the next step of being able to actually address the situation at hand.
Yeah, I agree. The pandemic, in addition to slowing things down, stopping our mass consumerism waves, because there's no escaping it. It's like your crash wave.
Right.
People also had to relook at their values in light of potential death and illness. And that makes you think about what you're going to do with your time and your effort and the risk of life. And isn't it going to be for greater good than being trapped in the hyper-capitalist waves of our society? And so I do think, and people understanding, wow, because I'm a person of color or low income or both, I don't even have the same chance of surviving this pandemic, or I don't have the same resources to teach my children now that I'm home, et cetera, et cetera. And that makes, it makes for the perfect storm for change.
Absolutely.
Like you said, the perfect storm for change. What are some of the maybe places people can think about opportunities where they can get involved in the movement? We were talking a little earlier about different roles people and organizations can play, but what are some thoughts if people have yet to want to do something and have yet to find like their purpose in life, their calling or the opportunity? What are some ways people can be involved in the racial justice movement?
Absolutely. That's a great question. If you have the pleasure or the honor to be employed right now, if you have any extra income, put it in the hands of organizers, because one, organizers are doing a lot of the frontline work that benefits you and not getting compensated properly for it. And on the other hand, there's a lot of stuff that happens on the ground or on the street level that has everything to do with well-being that isn't about a nonprofit, right? It's really about like, yes, we, in the middle of me organizing this protest today, I actually had to find housing for this couple as they were leaving an abusive situation. Like that becomes real and immediate, but I can't stop the protest and I can't not help them. So how do we put, the resources that organizers need directly to them, and it doesn't fail, especially when you talk about the women of color who are on the ground organizing. They're not trying to keep anything for themselves. They're trying to make a better situation for their community. So if you give it to them, they're like, yep, I put it in the hands of this person, that person, or this person. I also think people need to acknowledge the fact that they're learning and listening to women of color in order to grow. And so if you're doing that, don't do it in secret. Share, continue to share. So if you saw this, you saw a Facebook post, you saw a link, share that, because what those folks need, yourself, myself included, is we just need more people to hear it. And we're not going to get that unless you share that. I think what's also really great, it might be really humbling for folks too, is that there's protests happening every day. So if you just need to understand what it's about, go. Just go. Put your mask on and go and just absorb all that's around you in that moment, because you have learning, you have children, you have people who have been at this for years. You can just really get a sense of like what it's like out there if you just go. And then I think the last thing is, like, there's been so many reading lists and syllabi and articles that have been shared. Make that a joint adventure. Make it a date. Make it a family thing. Like, we're going to read this article about how to be an anti-racist is problematic, or we're going to sit here and watch this short film that really talks about how racism has been happening in the food industry. Like, make that a part of your shared familial, intimate experiences, so that this conversation doesn't escape the narrative of your everyday life. You need to put it in there. You need to experience it. You need to question and interrogate it. So it doesn't have to feel like, well, I'm not leading an organization. No one's asking you to.
There's not everybody's going to be an organizer. That's not everybody's calling.
Right.
And it takes a whole intricate dynamic system of people.
Yes. And the last thing I would say is that really, really be thinking about poor single women of color as they are trying to navigate schools being closed and trying to feed their families and go to work. Those are the people, like, even if you see, I was taught from a very young age that I remember my mom seeing a woman pushing a stroller, carrying another baby, get into the bus stop. My mom pulled over and was like, "Sis, do you need a ride?" And, and I remember her in the car, was like, thank you so much. I just need to get da-da-da. Because those small things are really what folks need. Like,
a breath of encouragement.
Yeah.
Somebody sees me.
Yeah. You need to be seen. You need to be seen and to know that, like, I understand your struggle. I want that. So the very least you can do is to see a single woman of color who is out here raising some kids and do, offer to buy her dinner or get some books for her kids, or like, hey, can I pay your internet bill this month? Whatever you can do, because that is actually, if you can keep those young people safe in a safe situation, that's a part of the movement work too.
Yeah, it is. There's something for everybody. Whatever your skill, talent, whether you're extrovert, introvert, whether you're homebound or you can be out there, some role everybody can play, and it's all the little roles that make for a mass movement. Lots of ways. Now let's talk about your center. Talk to us about the work you do. The people who are involved, so folks understand the power of what's happening with women of color in Milwaukee.
Absolutely. I'm the founder and chief strategist of Ubuntu Research and Evaluation. We're located at 1950 North MLK Drive, right on the corner of MLK and Brown. The number 19 bus stop is right in front. We are an organization of Black women that prioritizes Black women's leadership and voice. We have expertise in education, public health, nonprofit leadership, and we work very closely to work with organizations in their change process. So organization realizing like, whoa, we've never really talked about race as an organization. And we're like, yep, that's why we're here. And so working through not just, hey, we had a workshop, but working through what does it mean for us to ask this question and work through it over a year. We also are evaluators, and so we evaluate programs and policies that are intended to interrupt racism or other oppressive systems. So that might be an after-school program, a youth-centered program, a ready-to-work program, a reentry program. We're going to evaluate it and bring that intersectional lens of like, what does this mean? Because race is real, gender is real, sexuality is real, and how do we disrupt sort of the ways people have been oppressed that way? Internally, that means that I am working with a group of 6 other Black women who are learning how to work outside of the system, right? The system that has chewed us up and spit us out. What does it mean for us to build a collective together that isn't negotiating whiteness? It's restoring Blackness, right? That's a different sort of space to be in than your traditional nonprofit or university space. And so we come with all the degrees. We have more degrees than people for sure at our organization.
It's necessary. I shared with you that I did my doctoral studies. I haven't been able to do my dissertation, but my preliminary work showed that women of color, because I'm studying Latina leadership pathways, but there wasn't enough data on Latinas, so I had to go women of color. And what it showed is my preliminary analysis showed that women of color have to be exponentially more credentialed, qualified, successful to even be considered. It has to be an application that cannot be denied. Right. And so when you say that, it reminds me of that. So you say you got more degrees than you have bodies. It tells the story.
Yes, it's exactly that truth for sure. And I've never been more excited, and I can't even call it work anymore because it's so integrated into what it means for me to live, right? And it's not in an unhealthy space. It's, we're centering well-being, we're centering pleasure, we're centering joy, and we're also resisting white supremacy, resisting heteropatriarchy, resisting homophobia, queerphobia, and transphobia. We're resisting all of that, but in an affirming way, which is a narrative that has been so just healing to be a part of. And I'm really I couldn't be more thankful for the Black women who have joined me in this journey.
And share with us, what are the cost ranges for your services?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So we do individualized coaching is one thing, because sometimes people are like, I just want to process with someone, and that could be anywhere from $250 to $500. And then when we're working with organizations, there's a range from about $30,000 up to larger organizations over 100,000, really depending on the size of your organization and the length of time that you want to work with us.
Great. And then do you provide any services in Spanish yet? There are other languages?
So we happen to have a bilingual staff member who speaks Spanish. And so there's a lot of things when we do community survey work, it's always translated into Spanish. And now we're building out our workshops so that they're also being able to be delivered in Spanish.
Good stuff. And then who should folks contact if they want to get a hold of you or Ubuntu?
Yes. So our website is the best place, ubunturesearch.com. You can also find us on Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, or LinkedIn. Just search Ubuntu Research and we'll pop up.
All right, folks. And so we're going to add those ways to get in contact with you in our comment section here. And then we're going to ask, does anybody have any questions for Dr. Liston, to put them in the comment section if we don't have them already. And if we miss you before we have to say goodbye, because I'm always over time, including today, then we'll follow up with Dr. Liston and get back to our viewers' questions. Thank you, Dr. Liston, for your time. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
Be safe. Adios.
Excellent. So thankful for Dr. Liston and Ubuntu Research and Evaluation. They provide incredible services for our city, and Dr. Liston and her staff are such inspirations. I know I definitely do follow the work that she does. And I really enjoy the fact that she said, please support our community organizers and also make sure that you're uplifting Black and Brown voices. Extremely important as we're going forward. So always grateful for them. Just want to check in right now in our comments. We see so many of you right now, but we don't always see your name, but we love it when you can say hello or drop an emoji to us. Maria, hello, good to see you again. Lucas, Ola. We also have Jasmine, Ariana, Leroy, Kimberly, Angel, Camila. I thank you so much. You asked how we can get connected with Dr. Liston. We do have her contact information and also the website for Ubuntu there for you. So I hope that's helpful. Up next, we're going to have Marlene Zaran join us, and she's going to be giving us an update on COVID-19 numbers and also on a video about a lead filter.
Hello. Hi, everyone. My name is Marlene Zaran. I am the Public Health Coordinator here at the Southside Organizing Center. So I'm going to start off by sharing something really important. So the COVID-19 Milwaukee Public Health Department site has been launched. So this is the COVID-19 vaccine page. It literally has all of the information that you need to know and any updates about the COVID-19 vaccine in Milwaukee. So here you see it shows there are two factors that you need to take into consideration that impact the whole process of individuals getting offered a vaccine and having access to the vaccine. And it all is circulating around availability and eligibility, all right? So in order to be, first of all, for availability controls when the Milwaukee Public Health Department will be able to offer vaccine appointments and how many appointments are offered. This is based on how much vaccines are given to the Public Health Department from the state Wisconsin Department of Health Services. Eligibility decides who can get vaccinated at any given time. Groups are defined by the state of Wisconsin Department of Health Services, and the City of Milwaukee Health Department follows that. Please refer to the additional information that the individuals that are available for vaccinations right now are those that are frontline healthcare personnel, those that are fire and police and shelter that work in shelters, and those that are correctional workers and individuals 65 years old and up. What this means is that essentially you will have access to the vaccine when more vaccines start coming into Milwaukee. And that hopefully will be happening in the next week or so because of the current change in the presidential election. There has been more of like a policy change to bring in COVID-19 vaccines. So then I want to also talk about how on February 10th at 6 p.m., the Milwaukee Public Health Department will be hosting a COVID-19 virtual town hall meeting. So this is open to the public, and they're going to go over facts and share the latest information on the safety process and timeline for the COVID-19 vaccine. So be sure to join that. It will be streaming on channel 25 around the same time, and also live streamed on the Facebook page located at MKE Health. And it's also posted here, so you can go to city.milwaukee.gov/COVIDvax to get that information and for you to have access to that. I will be watching it, so I will also be gathering information for you guys and sharing it on here. If we go back up here, you can see that there's a register now button. This button is very important for those that do fall in the phase 1 population. What you can do here is you can click register now. You will register yourself in the database, and this is going to be the main platform that individuals will be using in order to have access and get informed of when a COVID-19 vaccine is available for them to come and get. If you are 65 years and old, this is really important that you use this platform because you will be getting a call from someone soon in order to get a COVID-19 vaccine. So yes, that is some of the information that I have for you for right now. I also want to go over that something did happen yesterday, and that was the Republican Party for Wisconsin declared that the state mask mandate is no longer in effect. And that is something that I believe that even though it's not in effect in Wisconsin, you should still wear your mask because you are helping stop the spread for other COVID-19, others from getting COVID-19. But not only that, you're also helping keep yourself safe and your family safe. Something that you should know, though, is that the Milwaukee Health Department and Milwaukee still has a city mandate to wear your masks. So if you are in Milwaukee, you still need to wear your masks. So there's no excuses in Milwaukee. You still need to wear your masks. If you are 6 feet apart from anyone in public areas, you still need to continuously wear your masks. So that part for Milwaukee has not changed. So that's another update that I have for you guys for today. And now I'm going to share the Milwaukee Public Health Department. So some of the numbers. Just give me a second here. Okay, so I can have those numbers for you guys on our Facebook platform and available to you in the next few minutes. It seems like something is wrong with my internet, even though I'm still showing up on the screen. So I will try to get that fixed and have that update for you guys soon. Thank you. That's my COVID-19 update for today.
Awesome. Thank you so much to Marlene for that update. I'm sure we can get a link or something in our comments. Definitely we'll have it on the Facebook page later. Yeah, I realize, Marlene is giving us so many different updates and changes, really important information. I'm so grateful that we can get these daily updates because it's changing so much. I recently was in a crowded area and actually practiced double masking, which is really important as well too. So I'm very grateful for the updates that we're getting. Just seeing if we have any more comments. And then I believe next we're going to be going into our civic engagement update. Gabe Charles, our program manager, wanted me to remind you all that the February primary election is happening in February 16th. It's a little bit over a week now. Early voting is happening though right now at City Hall, and she's prepared a video for finding your voting location. Oh, and I'm on mute this whole time. You can't hear me. I apologize for that again. I was just letting our team know that I couldn't hear sound, and then now my mute is on. So happy Friday, everybody. You know what? I know our next guest is going to be ready. Travis Hope, our community organizer, is going to be here and giving us a live safety update. So let's have Travis on next. Hey, Trav.
Hello. Hi, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
All right. So yeah, some of the same things we talked about earlier this week. Obviously, there's most likely going to be some more snow in our future tomorrow. Also starting some negative degrees. So if you're physically able to clear your sidewalks today, probably a better thing weather today than tomorrow and the rest of this weekend. And possibly the next week, it could be in negative temperature, so that's something we should take in consideration. So yeah, if you have a chance to clear your sidewalks or salt any of your walkways or corners, please do so. Also parking. I believe there's no snow emergency declared for tonight, but you should still keep in line with the local parking regulations. Make sure you parked on the same side. Make sure you're moving your cars when you're supposed to, so the plows can get in there. Today, I seen a lot of plows out there trying to catch up. So if you haven't seen them on your block, then call the city and let them know. But I'm seeing they've been busy. They've been out there all over the neighborhoods. So hopefully they'll get to your block and be able to clear it out for you, make it more simple driving. Some of the other things, street lights, it gets dark early. So if you're seeing street lights out, you can call 286 City and report them. Otherwise, they're not going to know that they're out. Also, just on Facebook, you can like the District 2 Police and the District 6 Police, and they're always posting updates on there. So that's a good thing to keep in tune with. Please don't warm up your cars and leave the keys in there and unattended, because they will get taken. It's something that keeps happening. And yeah, so I mean, just stay warm and stay safe. I think that's about what we got right now. We're always here for you. You can contact us or email us at SOC and let us know if you have any issues or neighborhood things you want some help talking about, trying to figure out. So yeah, so I think that's it for today. Until next week.
Awesome. Travis, while we have you on, can you remind our audience when the next crime and safety meeting is?
Yeah, it's the third Wednesday in February and the fourth Wednesday in February for D6. So, and you can go to their Facebooks, the D2 and D6 Facebooks, and then that's where they have them on now.
Excellent. We appreciate you always, Travis.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, up next, we're going to have a promo for our SOC survey.
Has this live forum been informative and useful to you? What part of the forum could be improved or changed to make it better? Please take a quick survey that's located in the comments section so that we can keep 3 o'clock with SOC going for residents. Thank you for tuning in.
That wraps up our show. I can't believe we're already over. Like Travis said, it's going to be a very, very cold weekend. Make sure you're checking in on your loved ones. Also, don't forget about 211 if you need any help with any heat at all. We have a great week for you next week. Our great friend Stephanie Samaripa will be here on Monday to give us an update on Department of Neighborhood Services. Tuesday, we're going to continue our celebration of Black History Month by having a representative from the Black Health Coalition to talk about heart health. Let's see, Wednesday, we'll be having a Walker Square Farmer update. Spring is happening so quickly, so crossing fingers with warm thoughts soon. Thursday, our guest Claire Evers will be returning. She is the Commissioner of Environmental Health. And then on Friday, it looks we're going to have somebody from Black Leaders Organizing Communities. Very, very grateful to have. Thank you, everyone. We appreciate you always. And next, we'll have our funder partner. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in to SOC's live forum today. My name is Jeanette, and I am the resident lead for South of the Tracks Polonia Resident Group. Today, we'd like to thank some sponsors: Wisconsin Voices, Community Development Block Grant, Neo Philanthropy State Infrastructure Fund, Movement Voter Project, Catholic Campaign for Human Development, Zilber Foundation, City of Milwaukee Office of Violence Prevention, Tides Foundation, City of Milwaukee Promise Zones, and all the faithful individuals who support SOC through their personal donations. We thank you. We hope you all are staying safe. Talk to you soon.